Hello everyone. So today I'm going to show you a very simple but a very delicious recipe, and they can say that this is basically food for the gladiators. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off with roasting some beautiful tomatoes. Now is a good time to go get them. I buy them by the case because we do consume a lot of these tomatoes, but you could also freeze them. There's so many things you could do if you buy it in large quantities, but you do need a deep freezer or an extra freezer to be able to keep them if you're going to store them that way. I keep them in the garage where it's nice and cool, and then when I need them I have them. So we're going to start by roasting these tomatoes. Very simple. We cut these completely in half and we place them in a cast iron pan or a regular pan, and then we're going to just add a little bit of olive oil, some garlic, salt, pepper, and we're going to use this in our soup, which is going to be a bean and barley soup with some beautiful roasted tomatoes. Let's see, can I fit one more in there? Okay, we're going to shove that one there, and we're going to get a few more tomatoes to put in another tray, and that's how simple this really is. So you could do this ahead of time because we're going to add this to the soup later on. A little bit of olive oil. A little bit of salt. I'm not sure if anybody has seen the movie that came out, The Game Changers. We watched it, and it really is a must to watch it. It shows you the benefits of eating a plant-based diet, and like I would say, this would be a meal for the gladiators, guys. So I'm going to cut some more tomatoes. I'm just going to slice some garlic on top. Just going to push this over for now. And if you don't have fresh garlic, you can use a little bit of garlic salt. My dog is outside barking. I'm sure he's chasing a squirrel. He's a real hunter. What am I going to do with that dog? He terrorizes the squirrels. You could even put the whole head of garlic and roast it that way. And then we'll add the garlic to the soup later on. My new toy. I gotta be careful because it really cuts. Okay, so I'm gonna make another tray just like this, and it's gonna go into the oven. I put it in at 450 because I like them a little charred, especially for this soup. But do keep an eye on them. I'm going to put a timer for 30 minutes. I'm going to check it. What you could also do is maybe lightly put some aluminum paper on top, and then once in a while you go and check and uncover it. But you want these cooked and a little charred on top. If you want, you could even make crosses on your tomatoes so they cook a little faster. And one more. Like I said, if you don't have fresh garlic, you could simply use garlic salt or garlic powder or even the granulars. Okay, I'll save that for later. Here we go. We have some more tomatoes. If you have extra, you could always put them in the refrigerator and make a little bit of steamed rice, put some roasted tomatoes on top, and you're good to go as a meal. And everybody loves roasted tomatoes in our family, especially my husband. He could just make a meal just with roasted tomatoes and a baguette. Here we go. And I have some garlic here. So, like I said, if you want, you can simply use a little bit of powdered garlic, it'll be just as good. Rosemary, that's what I forgot. I'll put some on the other side too. A little bit of rosemary. That's what happens when you're trying to do too many things in one time. Okay, I'm gonna add some rosemary to the other one. And that's it, guys. A little bit of aluminum just to cover them. You want them to cook and not char right away. And if you have to, you could always, if you find your tomatoes are cooked but they're not charred enough, what you could do, always put it on grill later on at the end, and they'll get nice and charred for you. So I'll see you in a bit when I make the soup. Guys, we are back. We're gonna start off with frying some ingredients, and then we're gonna add the other stuff. We're making like a stew almost, but if you want to make it more like a soup, so it's going to be a lot denser, but if you want to make it like a soup, use 1 can of beans rather than 2, where I'm using 2 cans. But you want this to be a hearty soup stew where you can eat it with a nice piece of bread and satisfy your belly and your body, of course. So we're going to start off with a little bit of olive oil. Okay, and to this we are adding 1 onion, pretty large onion, and a little bit of garlic that's crushed. Here we go. Our barley. We're using 1 1/3 cup of barley. And we're going to get this nice and toasted on the stove. Just a little extra olive oil, sorry. And we're just going to kind of toast this up, which makes the barley a little more nutty in flavor. Just going to get that going. And while that's happening, I am going to start chopping. Sorry, Erica. Erica? I've got my little helper here. Okay, so there is my beautiful sun-dried tomatoes, the ones I told you we got them nice and charred. And we're going to cut these up and we're going to add this to the soup. There we go. We're going to cut those up. Okay, to this we're going to add some salt. I'm sure we're going to probably have to add more later. We're going to add a little bit of black pepper. Again, you could always add a little more later. We're going to keep browning this a little more. And meanwhile, I'm going to cut these tomatoes in smaller pieces. Delicious. Okay, we're going to add our potatoes to this. And I've got 2, not super large, but not medium either, a little bigger than medium. Just 2 potatoes. and 2 very large carrots. And now we're going to add our roasted tomato. There we go. There we go. That's 4 cups. We're going to get another 4. Ooh, I got to cut that up. Didn't go through. But we will fix that problem. Here we go. I'm going to get another 4 cups of water. So that's 8 cups in all. And taste it for salt. If you want more salt, if you want more pepper. Definitely needs more salt. There we go. And to this we're going to add a mix of white and red kidney beans. But I will add that a little later because I want the barley to cook. But I might even add a little more depending on how hearty I want my soup. Because I do have 1 1/3 cup of barley in here. So I'm just going to let this cook. As soon as it comes to a boil, I'm going to simmer it. And I'm going to let it cook until everything cooks and the barley gets nice and swollen. And then I will add a few other ingredients at the very end because our beans are already cooked. But I do want it to flavor the soup, so I'm going to add it before it is completely cooked. So I'll see you in a bit, guys. Okay, guys, I almost forgot to mention we will be adding some frozen spinach. My spinach is only frozen because when I buy large amounts, I don't want it to spoil. If I see that I won't be able to eat it on time, what I do is I freeze it. But very easy to use. We want to use quite a bit of it. So here it is. This is what I'm using, and it's just going to go into the soup at the same time when I'm putting my beans in. And remember, you know, like, you have to make your life as comfortable and as easy as you can for yourself. Like I said, if I see my vegetables are, I can't keep up eating the vegetables that I have, the fresh vegetables, I don't think twice. I either dehydrate it or I throw it completely into the freezer. And then when I need it, I just cut a chunk and I use it in my dishes, just as good as if it was fresh. So, put these in for me, Erica. So, I'll see you in a bit. If these defrost, it's not the end of the world because it's going to go into a hot pot anyhow. But yeah, I'll see you in a bit and show you what this delicious soup is going to look like. But I'm going to let that barley cook first. And it's probably going to take about 40 minutes, I guess, to cook that barley. And then we're going to add those beans and the spinach, and dinner is going to be ready. So there you go. It's come to a boil. I will now lower this. There we go. I'm going to put it on low, and I'm going to cover it, and I have it on low. Low. There you go. It's on low. So I'm going to cover it, and it's going to cook and bring that barley to life. And then we will add the rest of our ingredients. And if you don't want to use water, you can use a broth. You can use a mushroom broth, a vegan chicken broth. I've done this using my chicken base that I make. We ran out because my daughter puts it on everything. We have to make a new batch, so I'm just using water, but delicious nonetheless. I could put some mushroom powder, which I probably will do. Erica, you want to give me some mushroom powder? That's no different than making a mushroom broth for this recipe. Okay, I'm going to use about maybe, let's see, about a tablespoon of, there we go, about a tablespoon of mushroom powder, and that's no different than having the mushroom powder would just give it that nice earthy taste. Remember, if you don't like mushrooms, you could use a veggie broth or simply use water and let the roasted tomatoes flavor your soup. So I'll see you in a bit, guys. Okay, guys, I already have it cooked for about 20 minutes. I just want to show you how the barley is already coming to life. There it is. It's nice and al dente. At this point, I don't mind eating it at this point, but I will cook it a little longer. And now I shall add my spinach. Whoa, there you go. So there goes my spinach. And remember, this is a very hearty soup, but if you want, like I said, if you want it more stew-like, you can add extra beans to it. And I'm going to add my mixed beans. That's about a jar right now. And that's what the soup looks like. And now I shall cover it again. And there we go. I shall cover it again and let it continue cooking for another 20-22 minutes. I will be adding a little bit of liquid smoke. Here we go. I use, of course, I always use my beautiful mesquite. I love this flavor. I will add just a drop of maple later on, but for now I'm just going to let it cook. Oop, I'm going to put the rest of that. And like I said, if you want it more thick, like a stew-like, then I would say add extra beans. You could add up to 2 cans of beans if you want, and if you want less beans, more barley, go ahead and add just, instead of 1 1/3 cup of barley, you could go for 1 1/2 to 2 cups of barley. It really is up to you. I did use only 8 cups of water, but if I see it's getting too thick, I will maybe just pour a little bit of water into the soup to dilute it a bit. But that's how simple this is. So I'll see you at the end. And yeah, give it a try. Let me know what you think. But I'll see you later on, and I'll show you how I'm going to serve this. Okay, guys. Isn't she beautiful? So what we're going to do right now is, yes, believe it or not, we're going to add just a drizzle of maple syrup. We're going to add just a little more liquid smoke. If I can remember where I put it. Here we go, just a little more. There we go. So we've got our maple, we've got extra liquid smoke, and this soup is going to be ready in a few minutes. I just wanted to marry those flavors all together. And there is our beautiful barley and bean soup. And if you guys haven't watched, and I'm going to give this movie a plug-in because I think it deserves it. If you guys haven't watched The Game Changers, it's a must. You should. And I would say, have any gladiators? Here we go. Food good enough for the gladiators? Well, it's good enough for me. So I'm going to say thank you, guys. I love you all. And guess what? I'm going to see you in my next video.
For more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to Connie's Rawsome Kitchen, give it a thumbs up, and share it with your friends.